What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Logic Bomb Podcast, episode 27. And today, Alex and I are joined by the one, the only, Lonnie Lightning in the hizzy. So, if any of you are not familiar with Lonnie Lightning, he is a Rainbow Six Siege streamer on Twitch. And he is, as you can tell, certainly not your average Rainbow Six Siege streamer. And we're excited to sit down with him. Lonnie's a good guy and super entertaining. So, we're gonna get the full Lonnie dose today. So I'm looking forward to it. So, first of all, Lonnie, how you doing, man?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Thanks for having me on the show. Thanks for getting out of your busy schedules to invite the truth.
Anything for you, man. I mean, how could we not?
I feel so sorry for people listening to this on Spotify instead of watching it on
that's
YouTube.
True.
There's going to be a spectacle here that people actually need to watch.
For anybody who's listening to audio only, we are joined by a specimen of a human being with a lightning bolt real tattoo on his face. Okay, I promise you guys, it's real. It's actually a tattoo.
Birthmark, yo.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
My mom's Harry Potter and my dad did bath salts. So when Hogwarts and bad decisions come together, you create Lonnie Lightning.
Oh, okay.
That explains so much. I'm not even kidding.
All right. So let's get into this. All right. We got a good guest, but we also have a big event going on in Siege right now. The M.U.T.E protocol event, at the time of recording this, just went live a few hours ago. All of us have opted in and played it. Gentlemen, thoughts on the M.U.T E protocol event?
Hilariously fun. Really, really, really fun. So two things that really stood out to me. I think it's going to help newer players or players that don't maybe have that much time to get more time droning. I'm not kidding. I think it actually will teach a lot of people to drone better. My one complaint is the Jackal headgear. Normally, I don't really moan about skins. I don't think Ember Rise was as bad as people made it out to be, especially not now with the whole glow characters have around them. And if you're under graphics a little higher, then those screenshots you see where they're up against walls are not as bad as that. But the Jackal headgear looks like some kitchen appliance. And all the other ones kind of look like heads.
Yeah.
If I lean out quickly, I think I would notice the red Oryx headgear still being a head. I can see eyes on it, right? The Jackal headgear looks like a squished toaster. And if he's sitting in, let's say, cafe in kitchen behind the desk, where only your head is showing, I'm not shooting a microwave unless it's prep phase and I'm bored, right? So that bothers the fuck.
That's why you bring
the
G8 and you just go.
Yep. So that one thing really pisses me off. But other than that, I want to give pretty big props to Mamillion7, all those guys on the event team, because I think it's without a doubt the most fun event that I've played so far. And I like when they mess around with mechanics and gameplay, where it's not just some reskin stuff.
I agree. Okay, two things on that. Do you think it was the devs' purpose to get more people droning, like weird subliminal messaging of hey, we're gonna create this really awesome event, but guys, we're gonna teach people how to drone. This is a big thing. So everybody's this is super fun. I can teleport. Oh, drones. What is this machine that I can go around instead of face checking everything? Maybe, I don't know. You have 500 players that do it. Maybe 100 of those be I'm going to start droning in places. I'm going to start going.
And if my drone gets shot, there's a serious ramification. I go all the way back to the roof.
And no one wants to go back.
And you have 98 other chances.
Right. So yeah, maybe that was part of it. Hey, how can we have a fun game mode that will also help beginning players work on fundamentals of Siege? Mm-hmm. That's the 400 IQ, if that's the case.
I think that might be it. And then two, what do you guys think of the Wild West one? You said this is one of the funnest events. I like the Wild West one. I thought that was really good too.
I liked it. I think personally this has more replayability for me because the Wild West one was it was all the Siege mechanics, nothing different about the Siege mechanics. Only you were in, a smaller map and 2v2 or what was it, 3v3 or something.
Yeah.
This is a completely different thing. I mean, this isn't anything I've ever thought of before. And so with that, I kind of give the edge to this just because it's really creative.
Mm-hmm.
The grapple top gang. The Western thing was, I don't know, man. The only thing that came out of that, except for the skins that you got to keep, was the Ironside change on the Boss G.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't bad. It was fun to try 3v3. It was an interesting map, cool little Easter eggs. But I played it for 6 hours straight. And nothing else. And after that, you're so saturated with that playlist, you're never trying it again. And I think that was the issue, because it's being kept there for a week, right? So everyone has a chance to get in. And I forgot about it that day after. It was like just interrank, not even considering that it exists. But this new play mode, I actually want to get into again.
Yeah.
I want to like play around with it and see like drone things I've not droned before, and then try and see if I can spawn on them, right? Like there's a ton of weird, fun things you can do. The interactions are interesting. It's a really good game to play for us streamers with viewers.
Yeah.
Super fun. There's no stress. It's not casual where people still get pissed over everything. So everything's a little more lighthearted, I guess. The Mafia one, what was that? Grand Larceny?
Yeah.
Was pretty fun as well because of the destruction changes. But I think that was a good proof of concept of how much destruction we could have.
Yeah.
And I think this one is just an interesting like gameplay mechanic.
There's some legit stratting in this one. You can already see it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make it sound like this is going to be the sweatiest of sweaty game modes, but there are some legit, like if you were playing with a 5-stack, you could bait drones. Because like if you're a defender and you see a drone, do you shoot it or do you follow it around and hope that they spawn on it and get an easy kill? Well, if you're following it into one of that player's teammates and he's sitting there holding that angle, that could be, interesting. Also, the cooldown from spawning in on a drone, if you've got you and your teammate both drones sitting by each other, both of you spawn on it, a defender's probably only going to have time to shoot one of you. So I don't know.
A lot of trade potential. A lot of trade potential.
Yeah, I think it's really cool from that respect. And one thing, it's a little bit disorienting on whether or not you're in an objective. It's hard to tell where you have to go in order to contest the objective, and you don't really get good feedback when you're inside of an objective. That's one issue I would say.
Well, that's just secure area though, right?
Yeah, but it seems like it's bigger to me than secure area, or maybe I'm just not. I haven't played secure area in so long. Like the area that you can contest in seems bigger to me, but maybe I'm just.
Oh, it might be.
But the other thing I would say, regarding the cosmetics, they're okay. I think the uniforms are really good. The headgears, like Vigil by far has the best stuff. And then after that, I would say Ying. And it's kind of strange because both of those headgears are the ones that look the most humanoid, I would say.
Yeah.
But
well, like you said with Jackal, have you ever watched that? I think it's ZC. What is it? The Black Mantis or Mantra or something like that? Like that big.
It looks like a mantis.
Exactly. It's like Mantis. I think that's it. Like if you look at that concept, it kind of looks like a kind of superhero-y. But once again, like you said, not humanoid at all.
Right.
That's my only problem with those like skins, because I don't care if I like the skin. I really don't. Right? Like I just collect them. And there are some skins I like, and on some operators there's like a handful of skins I really like. I can still only run one, and I never go in and change them. I put one thing on and then that just stays there, man. I just like knowing that I have the other ones. But the ones where I might look at it and go, wait, what's that? Those I will never be a fan of because of the game is too fast. Something like Hyperscape, I don't care, man. Like you could make everyone look as funky and weird as possible. I don't even need to be able to really tell that it's a player because everyone's going to be moving around everywhere. Mm-hmm. But in Siege, where a really like valid strat is to sit somewhere and just wait. Mm-hmm. Like that's a good way of playing, right? I don't want to turn the corner and then look at something and think, wait, what? What's that?
Why does the toaster have a gun?
Yeah, that is that, and we don't really know. It'll take time to tell if that's going to be a factor with these skins or not. Because you're right. I mean, it very like you're so trained to see heads that look like a certain way. These heads are so far off from that. Is it going to throw you off?
Yeah. I don't think it'll be as big of a problem as I as I see it as, but I think I could go in and take some screenshots where you're gonna be sitting there thinking, "What the?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas at least with Ember Rise, it doesn't change the shape of the player. It obscures how you look when you're against a certain surface, but that's it, right? You can make the same argument for like Lion's backpack, that's an annoying thing because you see the backpack and then you shoot, and then you realize that you're missing your shots and Lion gets the kill on you. But I'm fine with that because I know that that's a backpack. I know Lion has this. With Jackal, I'm used to a head.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's this compressed toaster on top of his body. That bothers me a little. But I would assume that when this made it through and made it in game, because I'm not the first that I heard say this either with it, and not to give validity to like my view on it, but I think they're gonna like reconsider how much they changed the head shape of things.
Well,
so I think they went too far with that one.
that is concerning because it's super wide. So let's say that he's peeking around a corner. How much of that is not going to actually be hitbox?
The Blackbeard effect. Look at his shield.
Yeah.
You put that on, you try to peek something in consulate or something like that, then they're going to see you before you see them.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
I think it'll be 50-50 in terms of if it's beneficial or not.
Right.
I'd argue the Blackbeard top hat is the perfect example of when it's beneficial. Because you poke your head up over, like you're repelling, and you poke your head up a little bit, and you have like 10, 15 pixels that they can see and shoot at, but they can't kill you.
Right.
And then once they figure out what's going on, or the recall starts kicking in, you go all the way up, and now you got him, right? I don't think anyone's actually going to abuse this, though.
I never thought about that. This the top hat thing. That's
You're
hysterical.
talking to a dude that's got a Blackbeard tattoo on his arm. Like, come on,
I know everything about Blackbeard.
But,
I know where he was born.
hey, Craig Jensen is my dude.
All in all, though, I think I'm pretty happy with this event, and this is the first time that I've really gravitated towards the argument of the possibility of having a special playlist where these events are available, maybe on a rotating basis. Like, what about a special event, a special playlist within the game where each week these special events rotate through there? So one week it might be Showdown, the next week it'll be M.U.T.E Protocol, the next week it might be the Stadium event. Maybe the Stadium event is a little bit special because that's like that's for the Invitational.
Invitational.
What were you saying, Lonnie, about the Stadium?
I said sorry. That stadium map was amazing. I would love to see that list.
I honestly consider that a little different than the special events because if I'm being honest, that one's probably the one that I played the most, at least up to this point. But that was just Siege on a different map, right? There was and they were trying out some different things with the map as far as some clear panels and stuff. So of course, like I'm gonna like spend a lot of time in that. But as far as the special events that really put a twist on the game mechanics, I think this is my favorite one so far.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
The Stadium one was, like, I think that's important to keep separate as well, just for the hype building for Invitational.
Sure.
Like, it has to be its own thing, right? I don't know if, would it even be possible for them? I mean, okay, of course it's possible, but would it be likely that they could do that with console? Because data caps, all of that stuff, I assume if you have to have it rotating, all the game modes have to be ready and loaded, right? And then you just toggle them on each and every other week. Because you can't have people down. Like, there is some sort of a price you have to pay when you need to send updates out on Xbox or PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
And you can't send them out without Sony or Microsoft validating and approving everything. And I don't think they can put anything on a console without having Microsoft or Sony like thumbs up at first.
Right.
And if you do that every week, that's not feasible, right?
No.
So it would have to just be loaded on the game all the time and then running in rotation. But that would make, I assume that would make it take up more space because all of those maps, even Tower being reskinned, it's still the textures for all of that.
Right. And all the destruction's there as well. It's not like that changed.
Yeah.
I seemed like the barricades when I was hitting barricades on the new map. It was better. It seemed like things I didn't get a whole lot of debris. It was just block after block after block, and then it got tore down.
And doesn't it like spark or something? There was some type of an effect with it.
Yeah,
well, right?
There was a little effect that sparked. They did really like the cosmetics, not just skins, but the way they reworked the entire map it's beautiful. It's great looking. Mm-hmm. It's really good, especially that synth wavy look. Like I love that kind of content. So.
I can't remember who said they thought it was a PR thing for Hyperscape.
It's got that vibe.
I mean, I can see like the connection, but then again, you can go all the way back to Far Cry Blood Dragon.
Yeah.
Right. It's got that same thing as well. I don't know if they have anything to do with each other.
Well, they haven't. They would have linked
time,
something.
right?
Like they would have. They would have put like a
more
hyperspace charm or something in there if they were trying to do that. I really feel like they would have.
They would have added that minigun and put it on somebody.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
God.
I haven't played a whole lot.
Could you imagine
somebody like the bar above their name and everything like that? That would be funny.
I think that'd be the one thing that would make me take a break from Siege for like a week.
Oh man!
If you put that minigun in Siege, I'm taking a protest a week off.
Imagine Finka LMG with just like triple the capacity and like it just hurts more, just more destruction. just terrible ideas.
Please no.
Especially, can you imagine the pre-fires with that and like the destruction? The destruction. There's somebody in that room. Okay, I will kill them now. Like you could play underneath too. Like that would be. Put that on pulse. Give him the cardiac sensor. He's underneath.
Well,
pulse
and a minigun.
Put it on the minigun so you can just look and shoot everybody.
I love it.
I swear, everywhere Lonnie goes, things just turn to.
All right. Anything else you guys wanted to say about the special event?
Yeah, I want to ask what kind of events would you guys like to see?
Team deathmatch. I want to. Like honestly, or just a deathmatch period. Maybe abilities, maybe not. Maybe a special map with no destruction, maybe not. We'll have to iron all that out.
Got a warm up map.
Okay,
like said,
fine.
Well, that should be a permanent thing. That shouldn't be an event.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to see some type of respawn.
Not be an event.
Some type of respawn game mode, which technically wasn't Doctor's Curse. Technically respawn. There's some type of respawn element with that, wasn't there? Maybe I'm hallucinating here.
No.
Okay.
I don't think there was.
No, you just ran around and hammered people with sledge.
But if you, okay, all right, yeah,
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, you just died, man. That was it.
All right. Yeah, I want to see some type of respawn game mode implemented into Siege, like really bad. And I know that like that's gonna require like do they have any type of respawn mechanics already developed for Siege that they could use? Because that's a whole like system within itself. I'm not gonna pretend to understand what that means, but
I don't think that requires anything without knowing how this stuff works. If you can teleport from drone to drone, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to just put in a new person on a spot. But the big problem that most games have with respawning is that whole triangle effect where, let's say you have 3 places you can spawn. If I control 2 of them, you're forced to spawn the other one. So like spawn locking becomes a weird thing. And then you have like the whole gadget issue with Siege. I don't know, maybe they can pull it off. It'd be fun to see.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see something where they up everything.
Like as far as utility,
like a 200% multiplier type deal. Like everything's just like blown out of proportion.
Your ass charge makes twice the size of the hole. The grenades do twice the damage. Whatever. Just everything more extreme.
Lion has 7 beeps.
Or a big head mode. Because I'm an OG gamer. Do you guys remember that like
GoldenEye?
Yeah. We already had Golden Gun. A big head mode would be hilarious.
That would be.
And then make it Nerf guns or something. I don't know. Like you're shooting each other with suction cups.
I think randomizing would be fun, like a random game mode. Like you choose a pulse, but like it gives you Dokubi's gun and then like a totally different thing where it's like you have to learn. I think that would be like a really cool, like just, a fun little random event or like something just totally that misconstrues the game. Kind of like this one. Like it added the whole drone appear type deal. And like I've never seen that before. So if they can come out with that, they can obviously come out with something else that's, funky that can like totally mess with the game and just add that extra fun and replayability to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My imagination always gets squashed by my practicality because I just want a good warm-up mode in Siege. So that's why I immediately go to Deathmatch. Yeah. But they can get, seeing what they've done with this, it really opens my eyes to just how creative they can get. And I'm really looking forward to all this. And I think it's worth mentioning again, and I think I say this every time there is a special event. Like, this game mode is completely free to anybody who has bought Rainbow Six Siege. It doesn't matter whether you bought the complete edition for $120 or bought the starter edition 2 years ago for $15. This content is free for you, and that's pretty cool. Obviously there's packs that come with it, and I don't even we've dragged that debate out enough. I don't even care to get into it because I think at least Alex and I are on the same page with that. It's like, it is what it is, but the game mode, the actual content that matters within the game, is free to every Rainbow Six Siege player, and that's pretty awesome.
I want to throw that in real quick. So it's only been out for like 4 hours now so far, but I haven't seen an angry tweet about the packs yet. The price. I've seen some tweets about them not looking the way people want them to look. Fair enough. Don't care about that. But last time, so much was about the pack price.
Yeah.
Right? Like half of the talk about the event was about the pack price. They're the same now. I just think there's more skins but the same price or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it's a good thing if that isn't the main talk right now, but it's how fun the game mode is, then that's how it should be. The game mode should be fun enough that it takes people a day or two to complain about the price of the packs. If they do that, then good job.
Oh, I've seen nothing but good things on Twitter. Nothing but good things.
Do you have any strong cosmetic or microtransaction beliefs, Lonnie? Are you a capitalist or are you a communist? Basically, that's what I'm asking you right now.
Okay.
No pressure, by the way.
No. This is really easy. You got to look at a business that it wants to make money. Right now, free to play is a big thing. So if you go free to play, how are you going to pay the devs? How are you going to pay the team whenever you have microtransactions, right? That's just how it is. I don't like microtransactions. So like pay to content, I don't like. Pay for skins or anything like that for microtransactions. Sure, skins don't change the game. You want to look cool. That's fine. Add that. But if I buy the base game, if I buy it for however you want it is, but then you're causing me to spend real money to unlock more of the game that I already paid for, I believe that's wrong. Like, this isn't communist Russia. Like, I shouldn't have to ask for more bread when I have a bread ticket. Like this, I need to be fed here. Now, but if I want to look like you said, a giant, microwavable toaster, I think I should spend a little bit more money to look like a toaster. You know what I'm saying? But if you're telling me that's like, well, you know what? In order to get this special game mode, you have to look like a toaster, and that means you have to buy this pack, then that's wrong. So I guess I'm on both sides of the spectrum. I hate to be wishy-washy about it, but like coming from somebody that, I understand game development to a point of like the marketing aspect of it. You need to make money and not just on that for, obviously updates, things like that. And microtransactions do help with that, but to make the game purposely revolve around microtransactions, I think needs to fall out of the gaming industry. I think that's ruining a lot of people's pockets. So,
yeah, we've touched on it a million times. I have the same thing. Like, if you go broke because you're buying skins in the game, there's a real issue that has to be tackled. That doesn't necessarily have to be the game developer's fault. It's sucky, but it's the same with marketing energy drinks to kids, right? Like, maybe that shouldn't be a thing either. But everyone wants to make money, and the world keeps turning. And if you gate your content, like maps and stuff behind it, then I'm out. There's no defense for that. That sucks. Skins, man, I don't care.
Little different topic here, but you made me think of it with the energy drinks to kids. Have you guys seen the Armed Forces on Twitch controversy lately about how?
Yep.
I think we're all on the same page here. I'm actually excited.
Okay, well,
I like to talk about this.
All right. So, okay.
Wow. All right.
Let's make sure we have the facts straight right first. So originally they had set up a Twitch channel that was specifically designed for recruitment. Am I wrong in saying that, or is that your impression as well? Like it was legit, like a Twitch channel that they were using for recruitment.
Honestly, I have no idea, but it didn't even catch my attention enough for me to care to read because I just don't think it's wrong.
Okay. All right. What about Lonnie? Where you fall? Are you okay with the Armed Forces being on Twitch and using Twitch as a recruitment tool?
Well, you're gonna look at the same thing going predate to the 40s or even all the way back there. Like, look at a flyer, right? It's advertising. It's getting people to sign up for the military. You think the military has the money or the funds just to put something up to like, hey, you're in the military. We play games too and have fun. No, things are to a recruitment aspect like that. This is just another platform that they can do to recruitment. I mean, it goes back to the end of time to like support your country, you know, whatever it is, like go on the boat and, you know, fight enemies and stuff like that. Like we need that recruitment. Like that's how you're going to get people. That's how you're going to get the word out. So to say that is based off recruitment, yes, I believe it's based off recruitment. But that's how the armed forces get people in, by getting the word out that you can do this. And in a electronic kind of more virtual world that we're living in right now, I think it's a good medium that they can go through to get people that may not know about it, or people that like are going through a rough time or don't know what to do with their lives and they're spending it playing video games and want something more or different. That's there then, you know, like it's just a different medium.
But is there a difference? Like, do you see any difference on them using a platform that is okay? Now, technically, Twitch is supposed to be 13 and up. All right, so let's assume that everybody on Twitch is 13 and up. Do you see any problem with them using a platform and video games, which are no doubt are more, are definitely, there's a lot of younger kids that are interested in video games and Twitch in general. Do you see any issue there compared to using other forms of advertising?
Well, based on, once again, like, yeah, 13 and up and everything like that, but you got to see some of these people that want to be pilots by the age of 10. Like, they want to fly, right? They want to get that. So being that young, it's not about if they're doing the content, it's how the content is being provided to them.
Right.
So, like, obviously, if you're 13 years old and you're saying, oh, come out here and kill everybody, be infantry, Call of Duty, that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's not how it's supposed to be. But if you're giving the outlet of saying, hey, by the way, we're whatever armed force you want to join, this is what we're doing, this is what we do, to press on like our daily jobs, whatever, they can't fantasize it to a point to brainwash, if that makes sense. And I say that out of context of pure like information. You can't give false I guess what's the word I'm looking for? You can't create a world to them that the military is all fun and games and video games, and apply that to a channel to like get them to think that.
Let me say this, like a recruiter should never say these words. If you enjoy playing Call of Duty, then you should think about joining the army.
That person needs to go to a mental institution.
That is inappropriate. That's inappropriate.
100%.
I do think if the intention behind the channel as well is for recruitment, it should probably be marked for mature audiences. In my opinion, I do think that's probably something that they should click. But let me say this, okay? There are worse things for young men and women than joining the army. I get it, okay? If you join the army and you're deployed, you can die. Like, you can be put into harm's way. Obviously, like, there are huge ramifications for joining the army. Your life's not under your control. They can tell you what to do. It's a big decision. But there's a lot of really good stuff that comes with the army or the armed forces as well. It changed my life. Like, for anybody who's not familiar, I was in the Army National Guard. I did a 6-year contract. It changed my life in a good way, a really good way. I wouldn't be right here right now doing this. I would probably still be selling cars if I had never joined the Army. And
so people that are new to the podcast, sorry to interrupt, is like, we're both veterans with an idea of what's going on. We're not just people that haven't been in and just giving an opinion about it. We're firsthand. Sorry, continue.
And I don't want to make it sound like energy drinks can possibly hurt you as much as being in the army and being deployed and going overseas and having to actually fight for your life. I don't want to put those two in the same category as well. But if you look at some of the biggest advertisers on Twitch and in video games, and stuff like that, it does kind of seem weird to me that somebody who's representing the army on Twitch playing video games is viewed as evil and it doesn't belong in this space. But energy drinks are cool, and we're gonna wear them on our jersey. We're gonna wear them on our. I realize it's two different things. Like, don't think that I'm saying that like it's the same thing. But like, are you telling me that an army commercial shouldn't be on a break of the Invitational? Let's say the Invitational is sponsored by the U.S. Army. You have a problem with that? Like, why?
I think where the whole where the whole thing went wrong was, well, okay, so a few ground rules first. I have absolutely no issue with advertising for joining the military. I think that's a great thing. As you said, Lonnie, if you make it into like an action hero advertisement, then maybe you should scale it down and be a bit realistic. I don't know if it's a problem advertising it to 13-year-olds. You can only join when you're 18, right? In US or
With your
does that
parents'
work?
permission, you can get a younger waiver if you're like 17 or out of high school.
17.
something
You can
like
go
that.
to
Yeah.
boot camp in between your junior and senior year of high school, and then
Okay,
come
but
back and finish it after
someone
high school.
adult still has to like oversee this and
Yes.
and like you can't just be 13 and sign your life away, right?
Right.
Good. So it doesn't matter if you're 13 and you see this, because you've already seen plethora of action movies and you already have this idea that how it's going to work, even though that's nowhere near. Like, I was pretty young when I wanted to like figured out first that I wanted to do firefighting, and I had an idea of how it was, and that was not how it was, right? But it was good. I enjoyed it. Sure, it's dangerous, but I knew what I was getting into by the time I was done with the education, and you get like built up to be ready for that. I think it's weird that people are getting this combative over something like that.
Agreed.
No one is forcing you to anything here. It's out there. They're saying that this is an option. If you want to get in, then you can get in. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And hell, half of the people are running AdBlock anyway. They're not going to see many of them. And then there's the actual channels that were like sponsored by it or whatever it was. What's the problem? Leave and protest. Don't watch it. Don't interact. If you go in just to get an attention and you're like writing war criminal in chat over and over again, then honestly, man, like just remember that those people are the ones that go out of their way to make sure that you can do that shit, right? So maybe don't be too pissed that there are people willing to do that for you to sit and be a spoiled brat online.
Right. Yeah. Well said.
That's kind of, and I wouldn't even say it's a pet peeve, but it's something that definitely pisses me off. The idea that people want to stop other people from going out of their way to allow them to have their opinions. You're never going to see any of the army guys or military or whatever go into someone else's chat to try and like suppress that, right? They have no intention of. They don't care. But those channels were getting flooded with trolls spamming war criminal and shit.
And that's what really made me mad too.
Yeah,
because
Lycan did the same. He had the conversation on Twitter, right, where he got called sympathizing with war criminal or something after. Like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
You would not be, and I know this is super easy to say, but you would not be where you are now if it wasn't for people willing to do that stuff. And everyone is super hardcore and woke today about, oh, fighting's bad. Yes, but somebody needs to. Because we're people and we can't even get along online. We can definitely not get along on a like grander scheme or scale. There's going to be fighting. And you know what? I'm pretty happy that some people are willing to do that.
Absolutely. And I think this is something that Lonnie will probably agree with. From somebody who spent some time in the military, I can tell you that people in the military are huge gamers. This isn't like a manufactured presence on Twitch. And that's what really makes me mad about it is like there's a lot of people in the Army, in the Navy, and whatever that are huge gamers. Like that, like so many people that I was around in my time in the Army loved playing video games. And so it's not like they're making this up out of nowhere. Like, hey guys, we want to recruit little kids, so let's go on Twitch. They're already here. Like, how many times have you seen the armed forces play on stage at the U.S. Major? You know what I mean? Like, that's a natural thing. Like, it's a natural presence within video games to have members of the armed forces who are huge gamers. So to see like somebody who is proud to say that they are a member of the armed forces and they're streaming, and then to see their Twitch chat, people going in there and calling them a war criminal, and they're not even like actively recruiting. They might just be sitting there playing games and not afraid to admit that they're a member of the armed forces. That's pretty sad to me. Like that pissed me off. I'll say that.
And
yeah, I'll say that.
Yeah. And it's like you were back on that. I didn't meet one person. Like I was on a boat for 9 months. Like I didn't see land. You're going to either do three things. You're going to either be in your head during work, you're going to work out, you're going to play video games. That's all it is. Like it's when you're working, when you're on deployment, wherever it is, you go out for 12 to 15 hours a day. You do your thing and you want to unwind. So like people saying like, oh, they shouldn't be advertising these things. The medium it's always been there. People are always playing video games. It's huge. It's probably one of the biggest, next to PT inside the military.
Yeah. PT and video games.
PT and video games. That's it. That and the occasional drink. But
Yeah.
you know. But once again, for somebody to get out of the military like you, like if I didn't join the military, I don't know where I would be. I don't know a lot of you know, but I used to manage a Victoria's Secret. Yeah, I used to do that for 2 years before like I did a bank job. I was a cook, and then I joined the military, and then like I did college, and like that put my, I guess, maturity on a spectrum. Yeah, you do some crazy things, but like I found my way. And for a lot of people that, yeah, you may know what you want to do, but the military is a good outlet to actually find yourself, to figure out what you want to do and add more of a mature perspective on life. And to respect others is a big thing.
Yes.
Like that's a mantra for the United States Armed Forces. What people don't understand, like when they're coming in there and shouting these obscenities or, you know, war crime, whatever it may be, like we learn to be better than that, you know, like that's why it doesn't affect a lot of people. Like, once again, you were in the Army. I mean, Alex, you've been around, you know, the military, like you know enough about it that it creates an image of yourself to be better than that one person who's trying to degrade other people, which is a good aspect of the military.
Sure. Yeah.
I think if everyone, like I think I've said this before on the podcast as well, if we could just get people to try not to offend other people, but try a little harder not to be offended.
Right.
Like if everyone takes that, because someone is going to say stuff that you don't like, and there's no way for you to stop it. Well, you can damn well control how you react to it. And yeah.
You know what would be the best Twitch channel ever made in the history of Twitch channels? A channel
taking notes. 1 sec.
A channel where all these people who were losing their minds over this actually went through basic training in the Army, and you got to watch them show up.
That's a multi-million-dollar idea.
You should make it so if you get banned in a Twitch chat, you have to redeem yourself. You'll automatically redeem yourself once you make it through.
Dude,
then you get unbanned.
I cannot think of a less scary demographic. If I'm profiling the average Twitch chat user, that's probably the least scary demographic of people that I can possibly imagine.
They're done. Imagine Billy, 19 years old, parents pay for everything, just heckling someone, and then just throwing them a sea bag and say, hey, congratulations, you have to spend the next 2 months doing something, or even make it shorter. It would change his ideals permanently.
They would be the people, in my basic training, the people who couldn't handle it after the first couple of days, they quit, and they walked around for the next, like, 3 or 4 weeks without shoelaces, because once you quit and because a lot of I don't even want to get into this, but let's just say these people would be the type of people that were walking around my basic training without shoelaces. If you're in the armed forces, you know what that means. And yeah. All right, enough on that. Let's get into Lonnie.
Oh, me.
Lonnie, the person.
Or get into Lonnie?
Yeah, let's get into
You have
Lonnie.
to buy me a drink first. I like Olive Garden if you want to take me on a date.
So, I guess first of all, how long have you been playing Siege?
I've been playing Siege for about 1.5 years, give or take some change. So I'm still very new, but I feel like I've gotten, like, I've recepted like a whole lot, if that's the words, because, you know, my grammar dictionary is actually just regurgitated bullcrap of me not knowing what I'm actually saying. So I think I've gotten a good point of, like, the game. I'm at a relatively high level, but it's fun, man. It's unlike any other shooter I've ever played, for sure.
So you've been playing for 1.5 years. Have you been streaming that entire time pretty much, or?
I've been streaming for about, I think I hit my year mark was in May. I started streaming like last May. I played it beforehand, and then I'm like, I could totally stream this. I could totally do this. So it's like, I haven't been even streaming that long compared to, like, how long have you guys been streaming? I know Flink, you've been on YouTube for a while, but Alex, how long have you been doing this?
I started just before Year 1, Season 1, when Pro League started. Just before that.
So that was like 5.5 years ago then, roughly.
Yeah, and then I mean, 3 years for like 10 people, right? And then it started going fast. 2 to 3 years for like no one, pretty much.
Yeah, so like just to be able to like hop in here and just gain as much experience as possible in the little amount of time, like it's very humbling. Like once again, like I wouldn't know half the stuff without like knowing you guys and like watching your guys' tutorials on like what's how to do things, like little meme spots. I mean, I hate to say it, but I've pulled off a couple of coconut bra spots every now and then. Let's face it. So it's amazing, man. It's good.
One of the things I'm interested in, because Alex has been playing obviously since the beginning of the game. I've been playing since the beta. What's it like being a new player in Siege and joining, and not being a new player in year one, but you join around Chimera or something like that? So the game was already
Operation Health, I think.
So the game was already 2.5 years old at that point. So what's it like joining Rainbow Six Siege from a new player perspective that late into the game?
Absolutely terrifying. It is the scariest thing. It's like, hey, you don't know how to swim? Well, here's the ocean, then just getting pushed in by your dad. There's going to be people to catch you, but you're going to be flailing your arms for a little bit. So, once again, I came from Counter-Strike. I played Counter-Strike. Like, I know you, and you guys can do this. Like, when you're good at FPS video games, you feel like a pride. Like, you can hop in. Like, I played Halo, Counter-Strike, everything under the sun. When I hopped into Siege, I couldn't do I couldn't do nothing. I was dying left and right. I was getting shot through walls. And you have these kids that are like 15 you're playing with, like, just do this. And it's demoralizing. Like, somebody that's so good coming from this game or other games, and then realizing you know nothing, Jon Snow. You are a child in a man's world. And then you start getting it, though. I guess that's the most... Like, jumping in for where I am now, like, I've seen some horror stories of what you guys been through. Like, I've seen videos on year one, and my God, what a turd.
Yeah, but, I don't want to talk about year one.
I don't want to talk about year one. I've seen old videos of just, like, what you guys went through, and, like, what I've been through is nowhere near the progressive amount of tweaks and, like, making things as good as it is now. So I guess I'm spoiled coming into the scene of when I came in, because newer functions and things getting fixed, were there when I joined, instead of you guys having to work through it. So
it's super rare that we get. I think you're the first we've had on that started like in the middle of everything. Mm-hmm. And from a new player perspective, because I know that both Flanked and I, like, we got to experience people not knowing that you could use bullet holes. Like, that wasn't a thing. You didn't do that, right? There are so many tricks that used to be a thing that aren't anymore. You used to be able to spray up a barricade and then you could just jump through it without actually breaking it. The game has changed so much, but we got it in small snippets, right? And I think even the place we're both at, Flanked and I, we still realize that we probably don't know half the game. Like there's probably twice as much as we know left to be discovered, which feels kind of insane, because I have like this in, like, when I'm in a map, I kind of feel like I know what I can do on that map. And then a week later, something breaks or there's a destruction, and I'm sitting there thinking, how did I not know this? How have I gone like 2 years on this map without realizing that this is a thing? Mm-hmm. I can't imagine how it is getting like shoved, 50 something operators down your throat. Yeah. And I don't know how many maps where you can't even go into skeleton mode where you can see everything. Like, you have to spend over an hour per map if you want to break everything. And then you need to learn the angles and all of that. Like, what do? You just jump in cold and then you just play, and then you learn as you go? How do you... Because, God, it's a big book of things and secrets.
Well, like you said, like, I realized after the first week of just getting absolutely wrecked by silvers of like, I need to study. Like, I was getting gunned, because I'm so used to, like, this sound. And once again, like, I'll wait to go into the sound mechanic of it, because the sound mechanic in this game is far different and more complex than any game I've ever played. So, like, I hop in, and like, after the week of getting demolished, I'm like, I got to learn these things. So like you said, I joined inside the maps. I was constantly watching video. Like, once again, like, I was still in the Navy, like, watching videos on like, oh, this is the game I want to play, like, learning things. I would say to actually get a good census of the game, at least for a map, took me about 2 to 3 weeks to kind of just like even learn call outs. Like, just remembering a call out is huge in this game. So to come once again, like, I didn't even know half I mained Glaz when Glaz could just see, because when you hop into this game, character models are weird. Like, I didn't know where anybody was. Like, people blended in a little bit more. They were hiding. So I played Glass for a solid month because I could see giant yellow people. Like that's, and then it got nerfed, and then I had to start from day one. So that was fun, or I guess change. Excuse me. So coming in, I guess, and this goes for all the new players, is a lot of prep more than any other game came from this game. Looking at map blueprints, watching Pro League, watching different streamers, learning spots. All this stuff, if you want to get good at the game, is mandatory. You have to learn this stuff. Because if you don't, someone that does know this stuff is going to kill you from those angles. Going to kill you from that destruction. Going to kill you from that side, So that's what I like about it. And I guess that's what was my biggest overcoming, is just learning what is possible, like you said, Alex, in this game. And there's just so much more possibilities that can come into sight.
It's super easy to sit down and play a shooter, right? Like hell, you can launch siege and you can move, and you can probably shoot as well. But damn, you're gonna lose a lot of rounds to not understanding how the operator works, the map, whatever. It's like jumping in playing Hearthstone and then not really understanding what different mechanics are there, right? You can see the different numbers, and bigger numbers are probably better, but then one of them has some ability that just clears your board, and you're sitting there thinking, "Damn, I wish I knew that."
Like, well, yeah, I think the best comparison is checkers to chess. Like, most other FPSs are checkers and Siege is chess. So I think it's a perfect example, because when you sit down at a chessboard, you're like, what does this guy do? What does this guy do?
Yeah.
What does this guy do? What does
And
it?
why?
And then you're like, oh, well, he can jump over this. Oh, but and if you get all this out, then you can do this. And it's I think that's a great comparison. So, Lonnie, pretend that Alex and I are devs. The ugliest Ubisoft developers that ever existed.
So Hambo, got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
shots fired.
I was gonna say Spook.
I love him.
But I think one of the most important issues facing Rainbow Six Siege is how to retain more new players. How to take that player who tries Rainbow Six Siege, gets absolutely demolished, and get them to keep playing it. So pretend we're the devs. What kind of advice would you give based upon your experience of starting this game, mid life cycle, and what do you think they could do to help improve that experience for the new player?
Easy, and it's going to be the easiest thing. It's not going to go into any technical. It's not going to go into anything. Quality of life for new players. Add a shooting range. Add a blueprint mode. Add a free roam mode. Add any mode that allows the player, not in fear of death, to try out new things. Not just
mode.
Deathmatch mode. Learning the operators, go a little bit more in depth, like more of a tutorial mode. Like, once again, this is all time and money and dollars going in to create this stuff. So it's like, obviously it's not as easy as like, hey, just put it in. But like more of a, like, look at Hyperscape, for example. Like, they have the shooting range. They have you can test guns, test recoil, have the player do that and then add metrics behind it. Like, allow the player not to have to do a third-party study on your game and just put that study mechanic inside. So, like, hey, you can do this to walls, or hey, you can do it to this, or and correct me if I'm wrong if it's already in the game. I just haven't discovered it because I just press the rank button over and over again until I want to die. That's the crippling sadness of just I'm gonna press this rank. Maybe it's what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Yeah, that's what ranked is right now in a nutshell. But I think allowing or giving the player that is completely new, that has no idea, not just to go into a customs mode. And I guess that, like, once again, that's what what's that mode called where you have to do scenarios? I guess that's what scenarios is for.
Yeah,
but situations.
Those are old.
Update it. Add it a little bit new. Like, allow that player to learn. And I think blueprint, like a blueprint mode to like players to learn the map. And I think Kix was working on it. For those new listening, Kickstar's a caster, and he's working on a universal callout list. So what I didn't know, and I know the same thing for Counter-Strike, is callouts are literally one of the most important thing you can do, because it literally gives you walls. What people don't understand, like when it comes to a callout, or even like suggested things you do when you're in a game, like these things that you should learn or to do to make quality of life better. Learn callouts. Be nice to your team, whatever it may be. But like when I learned
last.
What was that?
That comes last. Being nice.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. Just actually throw that out the window. We're gonna forget about that one. But just allowing the player to know a call out or to like preach that more, I think will make like a universal call out list. So like you put up, like say you're playing consulate and you have a different tiers and make it super easy. Like, I don't know, front desk, lobby, circle, whatever it may be. And add that studying aspect, I think it's going to cause new players to not only play better, but to feel better about the game because they're making more of an impact. I think quality of life needs to be focused on more because the game necessarily isn't really like on Twitter or whatever. Oh, the game's broken, sounds broken, whatever. Like this is an incredibly complex gaming system, what people don't know about. But what we can do that's relatively more easier than trying to fix the most complex stuff is to help players maneuver past those imperfections and to create a better game and lifestyle for whatever playlist that you're playing. So I guess just more quality of life. As I ramble on.
I'd love to see the metrics on shooting range in different games. Because I think most of the shooting range where you can just go and test guns are being used for an hour per player max ever on average. I think almost no one will use it because the people that can aim will do the same thing. They'll just click rank and jump in. That's the thing. And the new players generally want to get into the game. It is so rare that you like think about it. How often do you actually launch a game and want to do the tutorial? I don't know about you guys, but like I just want to get through the tutorial and yeah, sure, cool button. Okay, that does that. Let me play. Like, think about what we're actually looking for when we launch a game. Even in Hyperscape, I jumped in, I tried the shooting range, and I'm sitting there thinking, damn, I wish Siege had that. And then I never touched it again. And sure, it's a beta. I think the only good shooting range that I can think of is the community-made one in CS called aim_bots. That's the only good one. Because there are targets everywhere you decide how much health do they have? Do they have armor? Do they move? What do they do? What guns do I have? And it's easy and quick. And you can load it up, like you type a few lines in your console and then boom, the thing's there. But for Siege, I would honestly scrap the whole shooting range idea. It's not worth the time, effort, or anything. People aren't going to use it enough. Give us custom maps where we can spawn things where we want to spawn them. And the freedom to have the guns that we want to have with whatever we want to load them up with. So I can just open a pick menu while on the ground and in there. So don't have... The problem is the loading time, right? Because you don't have an excuse for not learning the maps if you don't jump into customs. But it takes too long. So I got to set it up. And to learn,
you have to kind of know... You have to kind of... When you're in a custom game trying to learn the map, you need a little bit of base knowledge about the game to be able to learn the map in a way that is realistic, I guess. I don't know how to...
Yes, but you would have to do that no matter how you set it up. Even if you have a blueprint, no matter what you have, the only thing you can go in and learn by yourself is what's this room called?
Right.
Okay, it says compressor, and there's a big compressor. Okay, that makes sense, right? And then you move around the map, you get an idea of, okay, there's stairs here, there's this here. It'll go pretty quick with you having an idea of how the map kind of works. But it's not going to teach you how to play the map at all. It just means that once you're running away from whoever's shooting at you, you can kind of figure out, oh, wait, there's stairs over on the right. So you feel a little less stressed. Right. But it will still take the same amount of time learning how to play the map, I think.
So more of a trial by fire. Helpful.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I think that's how you learn best, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And I honestly, without hurting anyone's feelings, I think a lot of people that are asking for these shooting ranges are using it as an excuse for saying where they are right now and where they think they could be if they're shooting ranges. And I do not think they would put in the hours that they are pretending that they would put in.
I'm just talking about a new player aspect, though. Like, I'm not talking about somebody who's whatever. Anybody that relies on a program like that to say, hey, I'll get better if they add that, that's a crutch. That's using a G8 right now. I'm playing.
Yeah, sure. But using a G8. I think even for the new player, he wants to get in-game, right? Or she. They want to get in-game when they load up. Give something that both the new player and the old player can use as a toolbox that you can kind of fit to your need. Because then you don't have to make something that fits the pro player or the new player. You give them control over a map. I know we're never getting a dev console in Siege. Like, no game as a service will ever do that again. We're way past that. CS has done it. They're struggling with it to this day. Nobody wants to allow that amount of control. But damn, do I wish we had it.
Let me throw a couple of things at you here. One, I think a deathmatch mode could help with what you just mentioned there. I know that I'm harping that a lot, but because that's something where like I want anything that they can put in the game that is more efficient for me to warm up than what Training Grounds is would be a worthy investment in my opinion. Okay, that's the first thing I would mention. Second thing is that the situation should be more like this. Okay, wow, how am I supposed to concentrate? How am I supposed to concentrate?
I'm sorry, I just got no, keep talking.
Yeah,
go.
Right.
I love it.
Situations. Okay, yeah, we are monetization gone. That is, you can't recover from that. All right.
Yeah, we need subscriptions
hey,
now,
whoever
'cause
the
that's gonna
audio
cost money.
only listeners are right now are grateful. They are the chosen ones. But
Fine,
all right, so here's the
that.
situation. Situation should be changed. This okay. So let's say this. The picture is this: consulate garage wall, electrified, and the situation is this: you have to breach this wall and plant on the other side of it, and you have to do it in that order. You can pick 3 operators to accomplish this task. Okay, so you select, hopefully, or maybe you select Thatcher, Thermite, and then Zofia. Okay, and you can, like the way you spectate across drones and cameras right now, you would start out and be able to choose who you want to play as first. So if I choose Thermite and I go up to this wall and place my Thermite charge, it's going to get shocked off because it's still electrified. So then I have to switch to Thermite. I go and I throw the EMP. Okay, now the electrification's gone. I switch them on my spectating tool and now I'm Thermite. Now I can go and open the wall. Then after I open the wall, I switch to Zofia and I shoot and I destroy, a deployable shield that one of the terrorists is sitting behind in there. And then I, kill that terrorist and I plant. That's the way the situation should be, in my opinion. Really controlled scenarios that actually teach about things that you're going to encounter in the game, not only for yourself, but how to synergize with your teammates.
I don't think it'll.
That
I
sounds
don't
like
know
a lot of
if.
effort.
Yeah, I had kind of the same idea. So I wanted them to take a full setup from like a pro game and just have it pre-done. So rotate holes are where they're going to be, reinforcements are where they're going to be, everything is wherever. And instead of T-Hunt bots, you put the AI on the actual operators and they play in those spots. And then you have a full scenario where you have 4 other AIs doing things and you have to fill in. And you basically have, these like GPS markers that you have in car games. Go here, do this. Go here, do that. But holy hell, is that going to be a lot of work?
Yes.
To do all of those. And even your version, which is kind of the same, but a little smaller. How much would you learn from it that you wouldn't learn from playing Thatcher 1 round, right? And like that's the whole. There was a great game developer conference talk on. I think it's called Red Barrels, where they're talking about like we instinctively know almost everything not everything, but a ton of things in a video game when we start. Red barrels go boom. Ledges with a different color on, you can climb up, vault, whatever, right? Things that glint are something you can pick up or important, or you can shoot them. There's so many like little gameplay tips that are built in to games. Like we don't need a lot of it in Siege because, like, of course the EMP destroys electric things.
A giant blue ball, yeah.
We already know that from like every other game. Just calling it an EMP will be enough for most people. The thing that goes boom is probably going to remove most things that are there. When you've seen like one shield be destroyed to explosive, you kind of know, okay, every explosive can probably do this. Or you test it. And I think that last part, you trying it, is the important one. Because you actually learn from that. You making a mistake is so much more valuable than you being babysitter guided through and told, okay, this thing can do this. As long as you know that Thermite can hard breach walls, I'd almost say that you shouldn't inform anyone that electricity is a bad thing.
Well,
because the second
let me add on to my idea just one more step here because I think it's kind of important. So what I just mentioned there, that scenario with the electrified wall, the Thatcher, the Thermite, so that would be easy mode, okay? The next mode, you would make Thatcher unavailable, or medium difficulty, Thatcher's unavailable. And now you start the player thinking, okay, how can I get these electric things off the wall without a Thatcher? Well, I could bring Callie, or maybe you start getting them thinking about soft destruction. Okay, well, I can go above and I can shoot through the floor and I can open it that way. That would really be the goal for me whenever I was designing situations, is how do I get the players to learn to start thinking about different ways they can accomplish different tasks and synergize with the team. You know what I mean? And then maybe hard mode is, instead of bandit charges, you've got Cade's Electric Claw on there. So now you need to bring an IQ, because she's going to be able to find that Electric Claw much easier. But again, there's 100 different ways to accomplish this task.
Yeah.
How are you going to go about doing it?
I'm so on the edge, man.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely a lot of work. And how much reward would it be? That would be the question.
Like, for me right now, one of the most enjoyable things that can happen in Siege, I don't, like, if I get a clutch or 4K or an ace or something, cool. Like, it lasts for 30 seconds of thinking, yay. But if I find a new spot,
right there,
if I hit a nade that I've never been able to hit, right? Like, I just throw the perfect one, forever on, I know that I can clear this one spot from this position with this lineup. That is valuable knowledge that I learned by doing. And the joy in that, I don't know how many people share this, or if that's a uncommon thing, but for me, knowing that I figured it out is one of the main reasons that I want to play Siege. I don't think it would destroy anything, like helping people through with a lot of those things, but honestly, the biggest joy after like your first ace is learning that you can use this operator to do this, or this operator to do this. You figure out, clash is important. Then Callie, you shoot her once with Callie, and then you shoot her once in the leg, and then she's done, right? Like, that list of learning things in Siege, I don't want to rob anyone from that, even when they're new. It's going to be daunting as hell. But again, so is chess.
I 100% agree with you, but if I'm a developer, one of the foundation of my thought process whenever I'm looking at tweaking this game over time is, how can I make this game more accessible without lessening the skill gap? And I think that one of the huge hurdles that this game has and always will have is the punishment and the downtime. So I'm a new player. I'm playing Thatcher for the first time. I have no idea what his EMP does, and I mess it up completely, and then I die. Now I've got 3.5, 4 minutes before I get to try it again.
Yeah.
Okay. So I 100% agree with you, but I think that they should still try to make this game more accessible as possible, without taking away from what we love. If they can find that balance.
You know about the quality of life, though. They did say they want to address the downtime in Siege. JB said that as well when he was on the podcast.
And that comes back to the special events. The last how many special events haven't had a prep phase?
That is stressful, though.
That is super stressful, especially in this one.
I do not like it.
I think this game mode could possibly benefit from a prep phase, personally. But
yeah, just give me 10 seconds of like
just 10 seconds will do before, like 5 drones come behind me and I realize like I'm just about to get just absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
Right.
First round, like I knew exactly what this game mode was about, right? And first round, I hear 2 drones and I'm thinking, yeah, it's just prep phase. And there's 2 guys standing right next to me and I'm dead. That scared the ever-living shit out of me. Like, just give me 10 seconds of prep or warning time. It was the same in Grand Larceny. You're putting up like your second Capcan trap, and then Finka comes rushing through the door with a shotgun.
Then you get Wile E. Coyote in a thing falls on your head, a giant, safe.
That has to be the best kills we've ever seen in Siege.
Oh my god,
a falling vault.
Yeah,
a falling vault on your head. It's a cartoon dream come true.
All right. Well, I think one of the things that we were talking about as far as a new player there with Lonnie, because it's a really interesting perspective. Another thing I wanted to ask you about: how have you found the Siege community in your time? Obviously, starting out playing the game, and you've been streaming it for the majority of the time you've been playing it, which is, I think personally, and I've said it before on here before, that Siege is one of the hardest games ever to stream, in my opinion. But how have you found the community? I know I saw you at the Invitational. You've had a chance to be at a few events so far.
So there's going to be big difference, and everybody that asks this question that doesn't have a third party view on thing is going to be they're toxic, everybody sucks, everybody's bad except me, blah 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 blah. I'm going to go buy more skins and just shit on people in casual. That's not it. There are people in this community. I've been playing FPS shooters for a very long time that are just now longtime friends, right? Like you guys. Like I love you guys. And it's hard to find a game or a community like that right now because it's the same thing as the Navy. Everybody's put in a situation where the situation is not ideal. It kind of sucks sometimes, whatever it is. But to hurdle that together creates more of a bond. So when people like, for other streamers, example, I'm going to go through like streamers, casual players, and stuff like that. For streamers that know that stream sniping may be an issue, but that's also dealing with a platform, whatever it may be. We realize how bad it could be, but you band together. You laugh it off. You say another day in the office, whatever that may be. It's whatever it is at that situation. So that's one thing you're not going to see a lot of the time. I mean, you guys played Halo 2 before, right? You know how toxic people can get. But it's coming from that standpoint as a streamer, knowing that that's always a possibility or whatever, but knowing that, you know, if you just don't let it get to you and know that other people are going through it, makes it easier for you and makes it easier to connect to people. Number two, when you're playing just a regular casual ranked game, when you say that the community is so toxic, whatever that may be, there's gems out there. There's people out there. Like I met, like I remember... Okay, you're going to have the same thing with Counter-Strike, but for me, I remember, and I don't think Bikini realized this, but I ran into Bikini in a casual match. I think like my 4th day playing, and I had no idea, and he was just doing off-the-wall crap. I don't belly laugh in video games. He had me rolling. It wasn't just because he's Swedish or whatever he is absolutely dying. I haven't rolled that, and then I looked him up, and I saw him, whatever like that. I had to go through at least 100 Counter-Strike games before I went that because everybody is so serious, right? This is a game where there's just so much that you can do that it's almost a sandbox, create your own fun. Casual, you go there, you get a couple of friends, you meet new people, whatever, and you're just doing these off-the-wall things that no one else does before. And that's awesome. You don't find that in other games. And I believe the way they set it up or whatever it is, like with this destruction, reinforcements, different gadgets, make that happen. So the community itself allows those points to be played together, whatever it may be, and have that experience. Now, I want to touch up on the toxicity area. And every shooter is going to have that problem. Every shooter does have that problem.
Especially competitive.
Especially competitive. You're going to have, and this is more of like what you should do, is you're going to have You're going to die to stupid stuff. You're going to go negative. You can't win every game. People know this. Like, it's just how it is. But what you can do every game is and this is what Alex said, the last part, is be nice. This community has the most, I guess, revolving around just being nice to completely change someone's perspective. So if I put it this way, if I'm in a ranked game and someone is absolutely just being completely toxic, whatever it may be, they're just having a bad time, give them a compliment. Say, good shot. Hey, it's okay. Nice try. Or the player that's doing worse. Hey, man, it all happens to us. Whatever that may be. I've never seen so many people just in this game that changes the molding aspect to them playing better. Like, hey, man, if you just reinforce this, you probably like, and sometimes it goes a double negative. It goes the other way. But a lot of the time you say, hey, you did a really nice reinforcement there. You still died, but you really helped the team. That completely changes the entire aspect.
Dude, if I'm solo queuing and somebody compliments my reinforcing ability, I'm going on tilt.
Well, see, that's the problem. I'm trying to be nice for the podcast and show people, and you guys like, no, I'm flaming the hell out of that guy. How dare you talk to me about my reinforcements?
Dude, I'm testing. I'm testing this, and I'm giving you a clip. I'm gonna hit it up in Diamond Rank in the EU. Someone's gonna be toxic, and I'm gonna say, "Yo, Bob, I know you lost that gunfight, man, but that reinforcement, that was a nice one."
I'm just yo, that reload was clutch, yo.
Dude, you nailed it. You nailed it.
I'm just pointing out the simple facts of like, hey, if you're just nice to your team, it works in your favor. Like sometimes it doesn't work out as you think, but like once again, don't go up to people like you said, like, yo, Doki, good reinforcement, man.
Whisper them in their ear.
Yeah,
Yo, that's a really good prep drone you put there.
You know, like,
actually,
that's a good thing too. But you also learn, and all in all, without me rambling on, every game is going to have a toxic community. Every game is going to have its gems. Every game is going to have its downfall, its goods, its bads, whatever like that. But I mean, that's kind of like a loaded question of how do you think of the community? Every community is good. But what I do say is the live event community is probably the best community I've ever met in my life. Like when I went to SI, okay, this was it. This was me. Hey, Lonnie, we're going to go to SI. I was with a different org at that time, not DZ. But we're going to send you to SI. And in my head, I'm like, I'm an older guy. I don't want to go to a place and watch video games. Like, whatever. I want to go to a bar and drink and, like, crap around with my friends. Yo, when I showed up to that venue and I saw everybody around, I saw cosplayers, people doing interviews. It was an entire event. I didn't even know it was possible. Like, I've never been to an event like that. You walk in, concession stands, people that you play with online, you see there. You see what they look like. And the fact that everybody's like, everything aside of what the game is right there, you're there for that event, and that's what made it good. Like, seeing people that you're like in the Siege community walk by you and shake your hand and say hi. And then that's not even getting to the point of, now I'm just going on an SI rant here, but like when you walked inside and you saw the monitor, the Jumbotron, when somebody dies, that boom.
Yeah.
People went nuts. And that's something that I thought you only saw from a sporting event, like an actual, like, I wanted to say esports aren't sports, but like, you go to a football game, whatever, Megatron.
No difference.
But when I saw that happen, I wanted to sit down. I wanted to get a couple Heinekens. I wanted to watch what was going on because I don't know about you guys were there. When that last game versus NIP and versus SSG, where I think Thinking Nate did a 2v1 pistol clutch, I was out of my seat screaming. I was like, let's go! Everybody around me cheering, chanting. And I think that's what people need to look at in the hindsight of like the community is like, don't think about what it is now. Think about it is when what it's going to be. Like, work up to that point. Like I don't even know, man. It's the best community I've played with in any game. That's hands down. And the live events that Ubisoft throws on, absolutely amazing.
The community question is always difficult because it's like, when is it part of a community? Like, right? Like, who? Everyone's just people. So, at what point are you part of a Siege community? Like, where's the line of, okay, you're a Siege community now? Is it just you play Siege, then that's it, or is it different groups? Like, the live event is insanely good. I 100% with you. But I've played almost every online shooter you can think of, and I see close to no difference in how people just generally are. The harder things get and the higher in ranks you get, the more extreme they are. The more mad people will be and the more happy people will be. Mm-hmm. Because now there's more on the line. And then on the other hand, I think for the people that play more ranked, they're going to have a different and a little worse perspective or view than a lot of others, because now there's something like you're trying to get somewhere. And maybe you're upset that the guy next to you isn't trying as hard to get to the same place, right? Or you mess up and we all have this, it's probably not my fault, someone else could have done something different, right? But that happened in CS as well, man. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, hell, global elite and normal public matchmaking in CS is not fun, man. Like, you play that with people you know, and then it's amazing. And the same with Siege. Play Siege in a 5-stack with friends. It is some of the best stuff you can do. It can also be some of the worst if you solo queue. It's not often, but I just don't like the Siege community is a difficult thing, because the people that are on Reddit might not be the same people that are on Twitter, or at least there's different demographics of everyone, right? So let's say 50% that are on Reddit are also on Twitter, so at least they share something. Then you have a 50% that aren't. You have people that play rank. You have people that only play T-Hunt. People that are mainly focusing on cosplay. Like, so
who only plays
vastly. T-Hunt? Yeah, we were super surprised about that, but that's a thing.
Is that a thing? Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. There are people that play realistic T-Hunt as groups, like proper. And there will be people in the comments below saying, yep, I do that with my friends. We don't play multiplayer at all. That's a legit thing. Last time we talked about it, we were all like pretty surprised as well, but 100% it's a community bot. So that's what I mean.
Insane. I touched my hair.
That's what I mean when we say like the community, right? it's a very, very, very big thing. And there's going to be an asshole here and there. There's always going to be. But man, most people are just playing video games in their spare time. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, I think we're going to wrap it up right there. A little bit shorter episode today, but Alex and I have to be adults here for a little bit. So we got to wrap it up there. But Lonnie, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have a stream schedule?
I do. You can actually just check out my Twitter. It's on my actual Twitch page too, www.twitch.tv/Lonnie Lightning.
We'll have your Twitch link down below. We'll have your Twitter link down below. Anything else with Twitch and Twitter?
No, just the fact that I'm just happy that I was invited here. Good to, even though I'm new to the Siege community, I feel like I've gotten a long way and met some really rad people, and I get to do a podcast with you bums, so that's fun. I'd love to come on again and talk more about myself because I'm egotistical. So, but yeah, it was a fun time.
Anybody who's never watched Lonnie stream, you have to do it. Okay. Again, link will be down in the description. Click on it. Go drop him a follow.
I don't want that because now you're going to have nothing but you guys as fans coming in and be like, hey, Lonnie, nice reinforcement. Hey, good reinforcement. It's nonstop now because
this is going to be a thing. For anyone that has Twitch Primes, just make sure that when you jump them on Lonnie, you just say, yo, Lonnie, that was a nice reinforcement.
I hate every second of this right now.
I'm making this a thing now. It's happening.
Oh my god. This is what you get. This is why people are toxic and Siege. Because Alex doing this. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Seriously, thank you for coming on. It was a great talk. Next time we have you on, maybe we'll go the whole distance here. I'm sorry we have to cut this one short, but seriously, thank you so much for coming on. It was a blast talking to you. For any of the viewers out there, get into M.U.T.E Protocol, a special event. Have some fun with that, and we'll see you guys next week.